G'day, listeners. This episode is proudly brought to you by our sponsors, supshq.com.au. Use BWB15 at checkout to receive 15% off and direct shipping.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and all those in between, to another episode of Bros with Brains, here with the rant man himself, Mr. Benjamin Button Mayfield. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Hang on, I'm just pulling down the
The
there
blind.
we go. There we go. Just lower myself.
Mine's a bit overcast at the moment, so we'll see if God's light shoots through yet, but we're good for now.
There we go. Mate, we're in fucking hey, look, I'm a little more square on now.
Yeah.
Very you're at my level now.
It's like very interview. I feel like I need to sort my background out. It's just my bookshelf came down.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Don't get me wrong, it was on the way out and I have to buy a new one anyway, right? So it's like it's already in the plans and I was literally going to tighten it. So it was the screws and shit were just basically bent. And I was just trying to squeeze it together, keep it tight. And as soon as I did it, just one snapped and the whole thing I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. So now I've got no bookshelf. So I'm gonna have to go sort my shit out. But anyway, how are we?
Yeah, great. Better than that.
If that's the worst case scenario that I've got going on, life's not too bad, bro.
Yeah, you're not doing too bad.
It's all right. It's all right.
Straw of things, realistically.
Yeah. 100%.
How we going, mate? We're going fucking good. We're going really good. Don't know why. I'm just in a good mood. Everything's good. Life is just good. Even at my worst, I had a bit of a fret the other day or yesterday, just because there was a few dips in client numbers and stuff. People finished up, or some clients have just gone AWOL for a moment. And I'm like,
it's time of the year, bro.
What's going on? Where are you?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, you know what? This is if we look, I'm literally 400%. 400. That's about 400% increase from this time last year in client retention, client value, monthly retainable revenue, client intake. So I'm like, realistically, if 1 year of business and that's the progression, I'm not really stressing that much. I've already, even in my worst case, double my previous employer income, and out of my work. So I'm like,
yeah. And it's funny, it's seasonal. It always happens. So you usually have two types of people in January, the New Year's people. It's always the New Year's resolutions are usually, I'm going to take care of my health. Let's get a coach, whether it be going to a gym, whatever. And then you got the other ones who are I need to save money because I need to buy a house or I need to do this. So what's the first thing that they cut, or the first thing that they believe is the easiest expense to cut?
Yes.
And it's usually something to do related to their health. So it's coach because or gym, because then they're like, oh, it's nice weather, I'll get out for a walk. You're not going to do that. It's going to last maybe 3 weeks, if that, and then you're going to be like, shit, need to go back to coaching. And then every other coach has put the prices up because it's new year, so you done fucked up.
And that's why they call pubs and alcohol recession proof, because everyone finds a way to drink, but not everyone finds a way to stick with their PT.
Yeah, exactly. But it's funny because my gym has actually this month has sort of had a bit of a shit month, membership wise, had a few members cancel, but it's quite literally the exact same reasons, and it's literally seasonal. Happens every year in most sort of membership based gyms. It's well, it happens. I'm not too concerned.
That's the like I said, it's not a big deal. In the hindsight of progression, we look at month on month, right? And the projections and margins and stuff have just progressively got better. And that's not out of being dodgy. I never have any shame in talking about business progression when I know for a fact I'm not scamming or shamming or fucking taking advantage of anyone. It's just sheer I think I'm not a burn and turn sort of coaching system. My client retention's 47 weeks at the moment. You can't deny that that's a happy client. 47 weeks is not bad on an average.
Not in the slightest.
So for me, it's I don't really have a qualm in sort of talking about that. So it's not oh, fuck, all my clients are just bailing or whatever. It's just, sometimes it's there was I had three consults on the weekend. And then I was like, oh, these guys are down. I was like, oh, wait, these 3 start this week. I was realistically, we're good.
Evened out.
Yeah. And big news. Obviously we announced during the week that Tommy started up, so we just got to get some contracts signed for legalities. But overall, he's got all our systems. He's got access to all of our platforms and our spreadsheets and drives. We've made him a drive account now, so he's officially got a coaching account through us. And yeah, we're just going to start pumping him with clients. So there's still people. Obviously, the referral immediacy is going to come through me because, well, they've known that I'm the coach or a friend is coaching them. But once I start getting full and I'm back to uni, or once people are starting to see results of Tom's side, we've got the system availability now to sort of ask who you want to work with, or who you want to talk to, or what you're looking for, and then we'll kind of like point you in the right direction. It kind of gives me a chance then to be a lot more specific, which we knew I was going to go down that route anyway.
Of
but
course.
It kind of gives us that opportunity then to be like, well, Tom works under me, or Tom works with me. We're on fucking par in terms of like general lifestyle coaching. Like we know what is involved. So it's not like you can expect a lesser service, if you will, because it's Tom and not me. And that'll be kind of the way we push it going forward. That we were, you're buying into a system of results, not so much a particular person. So
yeah,
it's all fucking happening, man. Hey, it's the next big announcement is probably like a week away. We got some overseas calls to make to finalize some things, and then we get the big announcement that did we talk about? I can't remember if we talked about it last week or not. I don't remember if we announced it yet.
Oh no, last week I was half asleep, bro.
Yeah, I don't remember. Oh, well, we'll talk about it when it actually gets announced. But, I can't remember if I'm like keeping it a secret and it's already been talked about.
It's like, do we pause? No.
Nah, fuck it. But yeah, so when that's announced, that'll be a really big deal as well. But yeah, shit's just going good. Training progression's going fucking through the roof. Clients' results are fucking stupid. Like, I've got Mickey ready to get on stage now, and he's honestly like he's still got 11 weeks, and his rate of loss is just stupidly ahead. I'm like, do I pull him back? No, you can keep going. Like, you're doing well, so why interrupt it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's working. He's still fed. He's still hungry. Like, to be 11 weeks out and sitting on 35 calories per kilogram is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah,
like,
if he's feeling good, just keep rolling.
Legit. I'm like, can you give me another 2 weeks for a diet break? He's like, yeah. Like, I'm just starting to get hungry. I was like, if you're just starting to get hungry at this close to a prep, from 4 weeks out, we get to start doing diet, like refeed practices and like carb load practices. Yeah. You've got like maybe 7 weeks where you have to be hungry. That's fucking nothing.
It's ridiculous.
Like, that's not a bad gig.
Just next time, just put him on 0 calories, 24-hour fast. Fuck it.
Yeah. Fuck you. You want to play?
Send it.
Yeah. Well, so I'll make you hungry. I'll find a way to get you hungry.
1 week of just ice cubes.
Yes. 1 week with just staring in the mirror and
diet right ice cubes. Sorted.
No, just stare in the mirror and fill yourself with the shame and guilt of your life.
Sorry, that's a mental health disorder there that you're giving. Sorry, can't do that.
How neurotic of me. I don't know if anyone listening, actually, probably the people who are listening definitely do follow me, and obviously, so I have no doubt you've been seeing my absolute piss takery in the last sort of 2 weeks. And I am 100% that petty. For anyone who thinks that I'm not, I'm a grown-up man.
Just in case you're wondering, I am a petty human. Thank you very much.
I am absolutely that petty and will go out of my way to show off how stupid some things are. And so we have a podcast. That's why we're here, right?
It's what the whole podcast is about, being petty.
I would say if you were to put it down to a fine tooth comb as to what it actually is, it's being petty about our industry's dumb shit.
Yeah, sprinkled in with a little education.
Yeah. Here's why it's dumb. We're gonna be petty about it, and here's a little bit of education to correct it.
You're welcome.
Yes, free. And my socials are just a more concentrated version of that.
What has got you rolled up today, good sir?
Well, I mean, firstly, how are you?
I'm good, man. Life's good. Training's good. Can't complain.
Big boy's back training again, everyone. If you haven't seen, he's back on the fucking post wagon. He's getting some content up.
Putting some wait until one I post tonight. It's gonna be good. It's funny looking at my program. It's like Joe's got me on literally maintenance legs. So it's like I got into leg session today because I've got 2 leg sessions. Did my second leg session today.
Oof.
Had a look and I'm like, I have one working set for like 4 exercises. It's like
nice.
90 degree leg press. What have I got? Hip extension, laying leg curl, and one other one. I can't remember off the top of my head. It had one, and I've got like 2 sets of leg extensions.
Yep.
I'm kind of like, I know he's trying to keep me at bay on maintenance because he knows what I'm like when it comes to leg training. I get it.
Send it.
Do you know me? Like, watch my training progression week to week. It's going to be like 2 tons on one exercise. So I'm just going to go balls to wall. So it's like, it's what I'm gonna do. I'm like, I'm just gonna message him and be like, in my check-in, I'm just gonna be like, I know you're trying to put my legs on maintenance, but then send like a meme like challenge accepted. Like I will grow my legs on one working set a week. Watch
You don't
me.
do this, Anakin. I have the high ground.
Yeah, literally, I am going to do it
You
because he knows
underestimate my power.
he knows I'm dumb enough to try.
See, and that's like even right there is a good like education point. The difference that you can get away with when you understand training intensity, understand like true training intensity. We don't have to start seeing set like working sessions go up to 30, 40, 25, 28 sets per session because
Bro,
relatively you might
I'll,
have 5 to 6 exercises, if that, and you can train within 2 to 3 sets tops because you're actually executing each set with fucking intensity.
I'll tell you how many working sets I actually had. So because I've got a sprinkled upper body in because that's what we're focusing on. But literally for legs, 1, 2, 3, I had 5 working sets.
Nice.
Hip extension, lying leg curl, leg press were all 1 set, and then 2 sets of leg extensions. And then
Nice.
I had 3 sets of seated cable raises, and then cable press downs, 3 sets.
I had one of my young fellas because I had some lateral work on his leg day, and he's like, "Dude, just double checking. Did you know that you had some lateral raises on my leg day?" And I was like, "Yes, dude. I know how to sprinkle in. We're sprinkling in some volume here. You need some more lateral work, so we've got some shoulders in there." And he's like, "Okay, cool. I didn't know people did that." I was like, "Oh, young one, so much to
Yeah,
learn."
yeah, like it's one of those things. I think I've got delts every day, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like Rowan, I keep pushing up his. I don't even know if he listens to this. To be honest, fuck you if you don't, Rowan.
Fuck you, Rowan.
Fuck you, Rowan. He like his set progressions on his arms. Like I gave him one of the days there we like went full set like specificity principle, had arm biceps on the start of his workout, isometric hold 21s, one set of that, so 21 reps, obviously.
Oh, is this what we were talking about? Trying to stimulate
Yeah. Just
bicep
get some more
growth?
stimulus through some
Yeah,
biceps.
yeah.
On top of that, like his recovery, he was giving. He's like, yeah, it's like it hurts, but like my arms are recovered by the next day. I was like, okay, another set, 2 sets of 21s on that fucking arm day. Then another point in the week where I'm like, he's like, yeah, look, to be honest, they're still pretty. I'm like, okay, you're either really not getting close to like intensity, or the threshold for your arm stimulus is just fucking high. So I was like, all right, if you want to play that game, gave him like incline spider, like barbell spider curls, and then
Yeah.
fucking isolated alternate dumbbell curls. Like, I was like, fuck you. If you're gonna tell me that your arms aren't growing, I will just rape them into not having a choice.
Yeah, exactly right. And now they're probably growing, right? Because he done fucked
Yeah,
up.
now he's enjoying it. He's like, oh, I could probably do with some more sets. I'm like, okay. He's like,
and
oh.
10 by 10.
Yeah. We're gonna do some 10 by 10s, 6 to 8. Fucking RER of 0.
Yeah, and go.
But yeah, but me and Riggsy were actually talking about. I had a really good session with Jaden Riggs, obviously a ex Dean client, like smart guy, coach and stuff himself. Even we had a chat about the other day is one of the reasons why like you'll notice as people start to click on that you train or you're a trainer or you're a bodybuilder or you're like a gym goer enthusiast, they'll try and make gym like their way to connect with you and like, hey, we should train together and catch up or like have a chat and train together. We're having to talk about it where you have to be careful with who you train with.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it ends up either being a gossip session or a kind of like a free PT session. So if you're not on the same click and the same wavelength with how you train, knowing when to push someone for the extra rep, knowing what their RAR is, knowing what the actual set intensity is supposed to look like, knowing what their set intensity looks like, all those things dictate obviously your session and your set progressions. So if I've got 10 to 12 and it's like a 2 or 3 RAR, and he's in my head and I'm all amped up and he's like, give me fucking 3 more. And like all right, sweet. I'm at 12 reps, but I do 15, 16, 17. I should have stopped at 12 because that was my 3 RAR.
Yeah.
But I've sent it because I'm training with someone. Then you got to go the next week and be like, oh, now I've got to go up. Or I've got to, like my progression history.
If you're still trying to match your logbook and beat your logbook, which is a whole conversation in itself. Yeah,
exactly.
You go there. One of my clients did that on Ella. She's just I've got like 2 or 3 RIR in the first week or second for the first couple of weeks just to build the skill back and sort of find your starting point. And she's like, and I'm very well aware. She's like, yeah, I went to failure. I'm like, yeah, I'm not surprised. It just means you got to beat it next week. That's not my problem.
Yeah.
That's a you problem.
Fail better next week.
Yeah, like that's a you problem, not a me problem. Like
I told you your range. You had this window to work in,
and I knew you'd go to failure because I know you. And again, we're gonna do what we do every week. You're just gonna have to try and beat it. That's a you problem. Sorry about that.
Instead of getting 8 weeks before a deload, you might get 4.
Yeah, well, that's the thing as well. Like when I was lucky enough to train with Luke up in Dubai, and I sort of said to him, I'm like, how is it that you're training at the moment? Like, because I know he trains like we do. Like we like to go to death and then die again. So I'm like to him,
Yeah,
like,
fair.
yeah, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, are we going to failure? Are we pushing past failure? He goes, no, no. He goes, I'm just going to empty the tank, and I'm like, sweet. Like, he's like, yeah, just call it. I'm like, done, easy. You know what I mean? Like we built
Yeah,
that from the start. And so he's doing lateral raises, just like, yeah, you got a couple more, got another one, you got it.
yeah,
You're set, wipe off. Like
yep,
you're good. Where it's like you're right, where if you don't know the person either, and it's like they're supposed to be stopping 2 rep shy of failure, and you're like, nah, you got another 3. Like I know I've got maybe 1 or 2 there, but I'm stopping on purpose, fucker.
yeah. This is how programmed periodization works. We're supposed to.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to do this right now. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's an interesting conversation. Like, and you know, it takes to be on the same wavelength of coaching or training styles to be able to like train together.
Yeah.
Like we're lucky enough. Like, you know, I train with Chrissy, I train with you, train with Tom. Obviously, I've trained with, you know, Nick Weir, I've trained with Jaden now, and we're all relatively on the same premise across the same principles. Like, okay, what's the session looking like, or what are we doing? Are we doing your session or my session? What's the intent? The intent behind it, kind of thing. Like, you get the idea. Like, okay, we're pushing for sort of this rep range or this target, you know, this RAR or this intensity. Cool, you're kind of calling it before you get there and you know what's going on. But when there's generally just like, you know, someone who wants to sort of catch up, or hey, you know, let's go grab coffee and then go train, and you're like, you either end up either guiding them themselves, like, oh look, you know, this is actually how you're supposed to squat, or this is what you're supposed to, like, this is what mechanics of leg press looks like. You're doing this, well, let's do this, or you know, you're adding some intensifiers or something like that. It it is a hard thing. It's almost a skill to be an effective training partner,
Yeah.
because like you have to know the person, know yourself, know them, know what they're after, know what the program's supposed to look like. You got to a point in prep, me and Tom honestly just weren't even saying words. It was just
Yeah.
like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That literally became it.
Mm.
Next, yeah, okay, cool. Rest, yeah, cool. Stop talking, yeah, okay.
Yeah, just shut
Literally,
up.
that's what it became. It's like, okay, that's cool, that works.
Yeah. Well, as long as you have that, established, it makes it much easier.
Yeah, yeah, very true, very, very true.
All right.
But
So rant time.
rant time.
Rant time.
Besides that one, let's go.
The fun time. What do we got? I'm just
What's
checking
that?
out
What's
my
that
beard.
Henry
My
Cavill
beard
fist
is
punch?
so fucked. Yeah, bad. Yeah, true.
No, so something that I've found interesting, right? Is the interesting is a polite choice word. Mentorships in the coaching realm, but with like there's literally no substance to it. Like I don't know what I'm looking at you for, and like you're, you know, maybe you have 2,000-3,000 followers on Instagram. You've got absolutely F all results anywhere. Like I can't see what you've done. I can't see anything.
Mm-hmm.
But all of a sudden you have like a mentorship page, or like also part of my business is mentorship. And I'm like, I get if you have a unique set of skills, fair enough. But like if you're like, I'm seeing these just general
If everyone
coaches
didn't think of Liam Neeson, then like we can't be friends.
in what?
If everyone didn't think of Liam Neeson, I have a particular set of skills.
I have a very particular set of skills.
Yeah, if like no one thought that, like we can't, don't quit, stop listening.
I want to find you. I want to look for you.
Anyway.
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 And like to me, like if I'm like if we're started to like a mentorship, right? Like if I'm going to the J3 group, if I'm going to Joe Collective's Go Coaches Collective, if I'm joining up something there and I'm like, all right, I'm not only learning about my training, I am learning about something particular. If you're like you're going through like these business mentorships, and these are people who are, you know, the anti-tracking crowd, the anti-data crowd, the anti-this, the anti-that, like you are spreading actual dribble as a mentorship of coaching. So you're going to teach other coaches to do like you do, which is by what I can see anywhere on your social platforms, not get results. You're mentoring that to people and then telling them how to successfully run a business, which also, if you've seen my story today, the irony is that I said, are the same people who are telling people not to track their food and track their training, then also going on to track their business data, because how do you know that your business is progressing? Oh, you keep tabs of your finance.
Yeah, but I feel like this was the same conversation we had like last year when we had people get pissed off at us because they were the same people who couldn't get results and then moved to business coaching. Or like, remember like the whole mindset, lifestyle, life coaching.
Yeah, but then it's not
I'm
even
gonna
like
pull
okay,
cards
yeah,
and,
it is a
and,
very
and read your like future off a card in a deck. Like those people. Isn't that what we're talking about? Or are we talking about someone completely different right now?
no, I'm
Like,
talking about something completely different. Like they're
okay.
they're
I
still
feel like they're all the
attempting.
same.
Yeah, look, fucking at a certain point, right? At a certain point, how many people does it take to mentor general lifestyle populations? Move more than twice a week, stand more than you sit, drink more water, eat more veg, consume more protein, get 8 hours of sleep. If you're
Yeah.
paying someone 5 grand, 10 grand to teach you that, get your money back. Like there
100%.
is literally nothing you can like that can be taught. Like there's nothing more than that needs to be taught if you're just generally taking someone. And I mean at the basic of like as we've talked about many times, if you're just a Gen Pop to me is you just simply want to move a little bit more and you want to probably drop like 5 kilos. That's it. That to me is like your Gen Pop. You want to be a little bit healthier and tighten the waist.
Yeah.
So if that's what you're after, by all means, that's all you need to know. Move more than you sit, eat less if you can, consume more protein and consume more veg, get 8 hours of sleep. Probably ease off the alcohol a bit. That's it. Do that. Do those 7 things, and I guarantee you take 10 kilos off your life. Like that's almost a guarantee. You don't need to pay someone 5 to 10 grand for that, or to teach you how to sit and mindfully eat your food, or accept your body composition the way it is, and that your choices are perfectly okay because life was hard here or there, and therefore
Well,
you can.
I mean, on the flip side to it, it is okay. Just don't complain if you don't
100%, 100%.
result. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like
it's absolutely okay.
It's okay if you want to stay the same.
But if you want to just not get anywhere or do anything,
yeah.
But I mean, like it's just
you're paying someone to stay the same. I like it.
Exactly. I want to pay you to reinforce I'm okay how I am.
Yeah. Well, that's probably what they're paying for.
Are you essentially is that essentially just paying for a friend by that point?
Well, I don't know if it's a friend because it's like you're not catching up with these people to like go get coffee and shit.
But also, I feel like a friend should be honest with you, so that wouldn't be a friend.
No, I feel like that'd just be you're paying someone to make you feel better. Kind of like a
psychologist.
Kind of like a psychologist.
Kind of like a psych.
Yeah, kind of like a psych without the psych.
Yes, a psych without the honesty or confrontation of trauma and past issues.
Yeah, you're paying for acceptance. That's what you're paying for.
Yeah,
I like it. I'm all for it. New business model.
100%. But like, I don't know. I see it, and from the same people who are like, there's nothing really to offer. Like, even if you're reteaching the behavior change models, even if you're reteaching motivational interviewing conversations, realistically, you probably shouldn't be if you haven't actually studied them properly and you're just simply taking if you're taking someone else's course and regurgitating it, that's not really teaching something. You're just hijacking a pre-taught concept and regurgitating someone else. But if you're truly understanding and getting to the basis of acceptance and commitment therapies, dichotomous behavioral choice therapies, CBT, like all these sort of things, you actually have a skill set to redistribute amongst people. Awesome. If you've done like exercise and sports psychology, fantastic. If you've done, some degree of nutritional science and like actual dietetics, and you can actually help some people, hey, instead of me working one-to-one, I want to teach other people how to teach people how to eat. Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. But at a certain point, if the populace that you're working amongst is literally just move more, eat less, and eat healthier, like I don't understand how you're making or rationalizing charging these 2 to 5 to 10 grand. Very similar premise as we talked about last that time with the mindset coaches, but like this is stuff you can Google for free. You can literally go on a Google fucking search, a YouTube dive for 10 minutes, and you will find all of this. Actually, you can now just listen to this podcast episode because I've told you what to do. We've literally just mapped out here what to do, and you don't have to spend the 5 to 10 grand. Like from that, from these people who are, they'll talk about general populations, and generally I would hope that a business mentor is teaching you how to niche, teaching you how to specialize, teaching you how to market, teaching you how to data analyze. If you're against data analysis, if you work with general populations, who are you marketing towards? You're marketing to everyone. That is literally like everyone that you're saying that fits under that bell curve. So you don't need a specialty. You don't need a general, a niche or a scalability or any of that aspect. So to me, I'm like, well, what are you paying for? Because
the only other thing I could see to that would to this whole thing would be, when like a new PT does some form of upskilling and they do like a whole mentorship business course type thing. And sometimes the things that are pushed in the business courses are like, start your own podcast, do your own mentorship, have avenues for people to buy into your business, if that makes sense. Yeah. And it's like, because they're just so new and so fresh, it's like they don't know any better. Like they're just listening to what they've, I guess, paid for. And in a sense, I guess that's not a bad thing on their end, because they're trying to implement what they've been taught. The only difference is the main thing to all of this is experience, and you can't gain experience in a short period of time, because experience comes with time and making
Yes.
mistakes. So I just wonder if that's also something, because I actually haven't seen what it is that you're talking about, which is interesting because I don't follow a lot of these people, or if I do, I just like their shit doesn't come up in my feed, which I'm not mad about, but
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean?
I
Like
wish I didn't come across it.
yeah, like I'm curious to see what it is because um that's the only other logical thought I have in my head. Because if they've got like such a small following, then it's kind of like, okay, well, maybe they're just fresh, or they're just, not as, into it, or they've just literally come into it. Like they are genuinely fresh. And it's like, hey, if you're trying to implement things that you've been told in a business course or whatever it is, and it's like, it's not necessarily a bad play. It's just, you also need to back that with experience. And it's hard to
Yes.
back something with experience because you can't rush experience.
Yes. That, yeah, literally.
Yeah. You know
Like
what I mean?
there's a certain point where, like, when it comes to knowledge, like we can shortchange the distance. Like I can take as much as I've learned from psych and nutrition and training, physiology, and I can shortchange that for you to give you a better understanding. But at a certain degree of time, your results are going to come from purely putting it into practice and having people under you that get the result. If you're like, but that also then comes with the fact that you're getting clients to get results and you're putting that stuff into practice and working with it. But if you're if you're literally just like paying someone to give you general lifestyle coaching guidance and mentoring, like I don't know, I get pretty lost on that because you're literally paying thousands upon thousands of dollars to just follow the Australian dietary guidelines and say, hey, do this.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess that's it, right? Like, as the consumer, like, are you paying for change or are you paying to be the same? Like, what is it? What is it you're
Yeah.
paying this particular type of mentoring, or as a coach, if you're a coach and looking for that type of mentorship, like, what is it that you're looking to gain from being
Well, that's the other thing, right? Like you're looking at
normal or
mentorship,
standard, or yeah,
you would
whatever you
hope
want to
that
call it?
like if you're looking at someone that you're trying to mentor from, right? Like if I want to come to, expand knowledge on PEDs, I want to learn on biomechanics, like I'm coming to you for a specific principle that you're versed
Yeah,
in. You're
usually,
going to be
yeah.
like, this is worth that cost, like
Mm.
that knowledge base. I don't want to go to uni right now, but like I know that I can get just as good an education here in a shorter period of time and
Yeah,
just directly reduce the bullshit. Like I'm not
yeah,
going to actually be able to go to like uni and say, hey, biochem teacher, just teach me PEDs.
yeah.
But I can sort of come here and say that.
Yeah, yeah, it's
If
a very specific thing. You're right. And I think that's where also it breaks down with a lot of coaches wanting to get mentors. There's like two camps. It's kind of like you have like the coach who doesn't feel like they never know enough, so they're always searching out education, right? And it's not
hey,
necessarily, yeah, well, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's like sometimes you need to just work. Like
yes,
there's only so much education you need at any one point, and sometimes you just need to go and execute and see what actually works from what you've learned. And then
yes,
from there, in time, problems will arise and you'll start to see a common trend in the gaps of your knowledge. And it's like,
yes,
okay, now you can be more specific and go find that mentor for that more specific problem that
yes,
you're having and it's reoccurring. Not, I just want to learn everything for the sake of learning everything, because learning everything doesn't mean you know anything.
yes,
And that's a really hard concept for a lot of people to grasp. And I say that from experience because I was the exact same guy. Like I wanted to learn everything from everyone. And I'm like, I just need to fucking work.
yeah,
I just need to implement shit with clients, get them results, and see what problems come up, and then either troubleshoot the problem, or if I don't
yep,
know the problem, well, then go seek out the mentoring that I need. You know what I mean? Go seek out the answer, and then
exactly.
add that to my tool belt.
So
So
that's
it's kind of,
that's the other
yeah,
that's the part to me where I'm like I'm looking at these mentorships I'm seeing from like say a very 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 gen pop type of coach, and like you're trying to I don't know generalize, or you're trying to say hey, here's my business mentorship. um I'm looking at them going like what am I learning from you? What am I like, what is it that you do that I'm coming to and being like, hey, I want to learn this? Because like if you're the general of generalists amongst gen pops, like you're really just trying to oversell what should just be experience in the game. And I don't know, like you like literally a Google search. Like it's not even the matter of like I don't know where to look, just simply like, okay, fucking my client isn't losing weight, or general issues that come up with people relapsing on habits, and you
yeah,
start to get to behavior change, you start to get to the behavior change wheel, you start to get to motivational interview, and you start to get to acceptance practices, you start to get to some basics like you might find the ISSN. I would not pay 5 to 10 grand for that stuff, because I've done several courses and workshops and systems where it doesn't even cost $5,000 in total for those things. And that's specialties, not just a single person with a mentorship being like, here's a bit of the thing that I kind of understand.
Yeah.
There you go. Like you're not giving me anything exact specific that I would sign up for. And it's like you said, like as a coach, we should like, before you go into that mentorship, is it just the sake of doing it, or are you actually hoping to learn something?
Well, that's just it. It has to. It doesn't have to be, but usually being specific allows you to ask better questions and allows you to get better answers. And that's the biggest thing I find, because it's like I do mentoring, and I find when I have in the interview process, it's like if I have someone that's just general, it's like I just want to learn anything and everything. It's kind of like this isn't for you. Like
Yeah.
yeah, like as much as I appreciate you wanting to come to me for mentoring, it's like I need you to be specific
Yeah.
because I need to be able to answer the problems you're having. And if you're not having any specific problems, well, then there's so much that's general. It's like it's not worth covering. I'm not teaching you a degree. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what is it that you want? So every mentee, sorry, I've had it's been specific. It's like I need to learn more about programming for this particular type of client. Cool. Let's knock that out. Like, let's get through all this. Like, I need to learn about physiology for a female physiology. It's like, cool. Let's knock that out. Oh, like I've had mentees that are like, I need to pass my subject at uni. Help. I'm like, oh, like we can do this. I've been there. I get it. Let's
Yeah.
do it. Like, you know
Yep.
what I mean? Like they're all for specific goals or specific outcomes. And it's like if you just want to generalize, it's like, well, it just makes it harder
Yeah.
because
And
there's so
like
much more.
and the thing is too, like when it comes to that, and this is why like being overhyped and oversold on like mentorships for general coaching, the answer is generally a general answer. Like
Well,
it's
yeah,
not something you need to specify into the degree you're paying $1,000. If someone's telling you to do, like I disagree. Like you're looking for like these exact formulas. And to be honest, if someone's promising it to you outside of those 7 points we just gave you, you probably don't need it. Not yet, anyway. If you're literally just about being inside a gym, like PTing or like getting amongst general populaces and your demographics, in a standard suburban area, you're probably getting 1 in every 100, maybe somewhat like some defined athlete.
yeah,
But the chances are that defined athlete who's seeking a very specific goal already has a coach. So the
yeah,
likelihood is you're going to get mostly Karens and Bobs that just want to be a bit more active and be a bit healthier and have that session. Like we've already talked about before, get that 3 sessions of being thrashed a week, feel good about themselves, not talk to anyone else, just shoot the shit, be away from their wife or what have you for that day or their husband and just be left alone for an hour. It's their time, send it, get to smash them. That's what they want.
yeah,
That doesn't require some manipulative like business mentor coach giving you some $5,000 system to funnel in more gen pops. If you are on the gym floor in your gym, if you are practicing general basics around nutrition and physiology, move more, eat less, eat more, move some more, lift heavier, progress your training, all that jazz, eat more protein, they're either going to get a result or they won't, and you'll begin to be able to fine tune it. But like, it gets to me when start seeing these people who they themselves are very general coaches
yeah.
and practice very general beliefs, start selling mentorships. Which, if I'm coming to you for business mentoring and you're someone who tells me that tracking data is wrong, I'm going to presume that you're also then going to say that tracking my finances is wrong. Why the fuck would I come to you for business mentoring?
Yeah, exactly right. And it's kind of like it's much easier to have an all-round system that you can cover a lot of things with in terms of like that sort of metric, I guess, because you can't. It's funny. It's like you don't have to track. We know you don't have to track food.
No, not at all.
We know you don't have to track training. And it's like, I guess, in a sense, from a business perspective, I mean, do you need to track finances? I mean, no, you don't. It's probably better that you do.
At
It's probably
least
going to
once a month,
be
you want to know if your
more
business is going
effective,
forward.
more efficient. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, to what end? It's like, how much do you need to like track? I mean, it's a funny thing, but I imagine these people that are offering mentorships would be tracking how many mentees they have coming through and how much money they're making off the back of the
Or how
mentorships.
much
So
their business themselves are making.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so it's kind of like, well, you'd want to implement that across the board because it's going to be much easier to achieve results. Unless, like I said, the client comes to you and just wants to be the same. I think that's the only other side to that, right? It's like, well, if they want to be the same, well, cool. I mean, if that's what they want to do and that's what you're offering, good on you.
It confuses me like how you can look cross life. Like we generally see cross correlation skills developed through training of any discipline, bodybuilding, strength, powerlifting, whatever, hypertrophy. Now, if you can see the benefits to say tracking your client numbers, your retention, your data, making sure that the business is in the black instead of the red, or that you're covering revenue, that you're at your profit to loss ratio is in the right place, or let's say you're marketing a course, a mentorship you're putting together, or that you're selling a mentorship and you're marketing it. You want to know that where you're marketing that is going to the right people. You want to see the metrics, you want to see the returns, you want to see the clicks, the follow throughs, the website traffic. You want to see that shit. So if you're pushing business as a mentorship and you're going to guide people to business or education, and then at the same time you're then running part of your business that says data is wrong and neurotic or psychotic, I've got to ask, like, if you don't see the irony, like at that point, I'm just sitting there sipping my Kermit coffee, being like, come on, like you can't see how dumb this is.
Yeah. Well,
Or
that's
at
just it
least
though. Some
satirical.
people, well, that's just it. People probably can't see how that's a problem.
It probably is. That probably is the case. That's probably the answer.
Yeah, it's like sometimes it is just that simple. Like it's like you're trying to
You
understand human
are
behavior. Yeah,
that dumb.
yeah, it's like you're trying to understand like human behavior, and sometimes it's just like you try to come up with these complex theories, and it's like no, they're
Yeah.
just really just dumb. Like it's
I'm
just
I'm
it's
being too polite here and presuming you aren't just that dumb.
yeah. It's like surely you have a brain. No, no, they don't. You're giving people too much credit.
That's fair. I possibly am.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, that's kind of like my rant for the week. Business mentoring from people who probably have no business mentoring. Like I don't know. To me, it's just like,
Should we call that, should that be the title? Business mentoring from people who have no business.
yes, yep, pretty much.
Who have no business mentoring.
You have no business mentoring.
Business mentoring from people who have no business. That's too long. But anyway, we'll work it
But
out.
yeah, it gets to that point to me where I'm like, look, if you're a generalist, fair enough. If you're really good at being a generalist, fair enough. But like the best way to get good at being a generalist is you just do it. You just literally work with everyone, find the people that respond well to your training type, your coaching cues, your coaching style. Are you authoritative? Are you a dictator? Are you more balanced? Are you passive? Like, how do you engage? What do you do to motivate? Do you say the right things? Are you just simply like, yeah, good work, Karen, give me another rep? Or it's all you, bro. Like, eventually you'll find what works and off you go. And that's literally like, at that point you'll start to see, like, if I'm on the gym floor at this time of the day, I generally get recognized by more people, and I've noticed I get more leads. If I'm away from the gym for this many hours a day, I notice my leads drop off. I notice in the sale when I say this, I get more like closed resolutions. I get more client signups. If I don't talk about this in the sale, I lose sales. Like, you just generally start to see what works, and that is good. But at a certain point, like, you just simply have to do it, right? And you can't be
fair.
I don't know, you just can't be it's not that you can't be mentored by someone who's so general, but like at a certain point, you've got to ask, what is it that I'm getting out of this mentorship? That's the question. Like, what am I getting out of this? What does this person have to offer that's worth signing up for?
Yeah, exactly. I guess that's the initial question as to why you sign up. Like, what am I going to get from this? It's like I'm not going to start a mentorship with someone if I know that I'm not going to get shit from it.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, I feel like it's just logical, but I guess people aren't very logical.
And just because people have followers, guys, does not mean they have shit to say that's worth listening to.
It's very true. Have you seen us?
We definitely have shit not worth listening to. And I've got no followers.
Told you, the elite matter method. Forever shit to just shit.
Yeah, it's how you progress.
Progression.
Yep. -1 + 1 is 0, but it's still a progression.
Should we get into some questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Did we actually get some this week for putting stuff up?
We got a couple.
Nice.
I mean, we've already covered this one, but what grinds your gears this week and why?
Shitty mentorships from mentors that have no business being mentors.
Yeah, for me, it's really just the dumb powerlifting nutrition shit still. Like, I don't understand how fucking dickheads don't.
Well, there's a second part. Yeah, there we go.
Well, I just don't understand how people to this day, and again, it's from my following, because again, originally powerlifting coach, powerlifters still to this day do not understand the concept that you still need to eat fruit and vegetables to help you recover. Like, I still don't understand how you do, like, with all the knowledge that we have these days. Maybe 10 years ago, I'll be nice. Even 5 years ago, maybe like you could claim that it wasn't very well known, wasn't a thing to understand how important nutrition is in place of recovery. But now there's no real excuse. It's kind of like, bruh, eat some fucking veggies, eat some fruit. Like, don't tell me your pre-workout fucking snack is 2 donuts, and then your intra fucking training is lollies, and then your post fucking workout is Maccas every day, and then wonder why you tear a hamstring or you fucking pull a quad or you fucking break a leg or some shit. It's
Yeah,
like
high
fuck,
blood pressure
man.
and clogged
Yeah,
arteries.
like brother, like what are you doing? Like, oh, but my blood pressure is good. Yeah, but doesn't mean your fucking heart's good still. Like, there's so much that goes into like understanding blood pressure and understanding the heart. And if you do want to learn any of that shit, like honestly, hit up Luke Lehman and his heart course, his heart condition course or whatever it is. I think it's blood pressure course or something.
Yeah, I think
But
isn't, yeah, it's that blood pressure, isn't it?
yeah, like the dude's a fucking next level when it comes to the heart. Like, bruh, like I will not preach that dude's shit enough when it comes to heart and blood pressure. Like he changed my way of thinking about blood pressure and the heart. So get into that if you need to learn or would like to learn.
Just be less shit with your food. Just eat better. Really.
Honestly, it's not hard to eat 2 different fruits and 5 different veggies a fucking day, bro. Like it's really not hard.
That's one of the things where I'm like, sometimes just the Australian dietary guidelines is good. Like
Yeah,
the amount of people who struggle that
just,
as it
just
is.
start there.
Yeah,
Like,
start there. Just start there. Even if you're powerlifter, like track your calories, but start by going by that.
honestly, you could be one of those meticulous calorie trackers, right? Like you know those people that are just like,
Mhm.
you don't need to track veggies and fruit. You know how fucking hard it is to get fat off fruit and veggies. Like, like I don't think they're fruitarians. It is an actual like type of person who just eats fruit. Show me a fat one.
That's fair.
Show me a fat, morbidly obese fruitarian. They don't exist. They're fucking sub 10% body fat.
That's fair.
Like, bruh. Anyway, what would you want to see changed about the MCU?
Ah, crackety crack. We're going to be here
Everything.
for 3 hours.
No, I do, for those listening, fingers crossed, the next wave or the next phase is going to be fucking phenomenal. And it's only because they're bringing Kang in and they've got Quantumania happening. And
Yeah.
it looks like it's going to set
But see, what I
everything.
think has happened is they've gone through their woke period and they've got the sort of the kick up the ass from reviews and like critique scores and audience scores. You can falsify and fake your critique scores all you want, but the audience will always dictate. As we talked about, the market always wins.
Yeah.
And when things dip or dive, like the way that Marvel got lucky was they so intricately interwound all of the stories that you had to watch one to see the other.
Yeah.
Where we're petty is I chose to watch things on YouTube purely to avoid watching the shows that I knew you were forcing on me.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I'm the only one because the ratings reflect it.
Of course.
So I think at a certain point, like I said, I think this next phase is going to be recorrected because they recognize like we're putting out more quantity than quality.
Yeah.
And the stories just getting whack and kind of just like not
Uh,
like at a certain point, you can see it in The Last of Us as streaming results. You can see it in The Witcher's streaming results. Stick to the source material as close as possible. Like I understand, I'm the first person to say I understand the whole multiverse and there can be different stories.
Yeah,
For the same
exactly
character,
right.
blah, blah, blah.
And they have
But,
to
like,
make it for the cinemas. And
when
it's like,
you
yeah, it's
start
different.
making someone who's like a posh English, like Elizabeth era, like smart scientist, and he's worth billions of dollars, and all of a sudden you want to say, hey, he's black now. If you can't see why there might be an issue with that, and people might be like, hey, let's just keep it somewhat accurate to the source material. He's probably not going to be black. Like just saying, probably not going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
You get to that point where it's like the audience itself will say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to watch this one. I'm probably going to sit out.
Yeah, and there's only so many, I guess, things you can get away with when you do that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah,
like every now and then you're kind of like, yeah, okay, like it works. You're like, okay, cool. But then some of them you're like, too much.
You've got to retell the whole story here to make this work.
Yeah. Like you tried and failed.
Yeah. And and I think, like I said, it's just getting to that point now where it's on the corrective path, and the pendulum is kind of coming back towards the middle, where they're going to get it back to being right again.
Yeah, I think Quantumania is going to just set the whole thing up because it just looks so damn good.
Yeah, I agree. It looks fucking unreal.
Yeah, it's like Well, if they can keep to the source as much as possible, so it'd be interesting to see what they do with like the next Thor because he's even come out and said that doesn't want to work with. Like
Taikiti was his name?
Yeah. Well, I can't say his name. So that dude. Just purely because it was too much comedy, not enough serious, and it's just like Thor's not
legit
that comedic. He's kind of like the god of thunder.
Yeah, if you want comedy, you have Deadpool and Spider-Man and fucking the like.
Yeah,
you aren't going to Thor, who is an Asgardian like Like again, like talks as it's a Queen Victoria era. Fucking
Yeah,
does mother know if you have her drapes?
Yeah, he's a fucking god. Yeah.
Like I tried to explain this to someone once. When you read the actual book of Civil War, there's a point in time where Iron Man creates his own Thor like AI, creates a robot version. And this AI accidentally kills a mutant, and it starts this whole next level expansion of like civil conflict. And Thor and like everyone starts blaming Thor, and Thor's like off out world doing some other shit. He's like, I'm not a part of human crap. Like I'm off doing my own thing. He comes down, and it's like he doesn't joke about this. He's like, oh, that was a good one, Tony. He grabs Tony's head and basically just like starts to crush the suit in his hand. He's like, I've played nice with you. I will kill you right now if you do this again. And Iron Man's like, that's fair. I'll fuck it up.
Yeah.
So he rips this fucking suit apart, like this, this like AI Thor suit, rips it apart, and just like, I've been playing nice. Whenever we've had a fight, I will fuck you up. Like that's not the same Thor that's in the movies now.
No, exactly right. Thor's such a pansy in the movies. So did you see Batista said he's not going to make another one after Guardians?
I did see that. He's kind of wants to step away from it.
Yeah, like he wants to be a more serious actor, even though
apparently
Guardians
James
is probably
Gunn has said that he's trying his best to get most of the Guardians team to come to DC.
Oh, to play different parts in DC.
Yeah, different characters. Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they would play, but he's apparently got some good roles for the entire
Guardians. I mean, there would be roles for like for them. I just be interested to see what they do. The other one that I did have on here was an interesting one. Best and worst Robin.
Best and worst Robin.
Mm.
I think that Joseph Gordon-Levitt would have turned into a really good Robin. I think he would have been a good Robin. Like, I think if they actually got that chance to do it, he would have been a good Robin.
But we know that he's going to be like, or hopefully if they ever went back to it, Nightwing.
Yes, he should be a Nightwing.
Yeah, he looks and acts the part of a Nightwing.
Are we talking about the actor themselves or the character, like all the different Robins?
I don't know. I think you just said different Robins. I imagine the actor's playing Robin. Because I mean, how many are there? There's not that many.
Like 5.
Who else played Robin? There was the guy from the Val Kilmer Batman. What's his name? Chris O'Donnell.
Oh yeah, the guy who played the Val Kilmer Batman.
Yeah,
and there was Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, you're right. There's not that many.
Yeah, well, then you got the TV series.
Oh, you got Titans. Yeah, you got Titans.
Oh, you got Titans. Yeah, what Titans? And then the original Batman series. There was Robin. Yeah, the yellow cape or whatever it was.
The 60s band.
The best.
Plenty.
Yeah, let's be real. The Adam Scott, not Adam Scott. What's his face? Adam West. Adam West. Adam Scott, fucking golf. Anyway, golf. Anyway, Adam West, Batman, and whoever played Robin. Then you got your Titans. That's 4. Though the Titans, Robin's pretty good.
The Titan Robin is pretty good, but he is evolving very quickly into Nightwing.
In Nightwing, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're going to go off like characters themselves, like the actual different characters in the comics, I mean, you've got Damian West, you've got Damian Wayne, you've got Dick Grayson, you've got Jason Todd, and there's the middle one that everyone always forgets, and by everyone I mean me. Fuck me. Name the Robins from Batman. There's one I forget. Who are the 5 Robins in Batman? Oh, Tim Drake. That's it. Tim Drake.
Drake.
Drake's the one. Tim Drake's the one that Teen Titans are based on.
Yeah.
Like Jason Todd's the baddest of them all because he turns into Red Hood. He's fucking awesome. But he's also like the big fuck up. Damian Wayne is also a massive fuck up, but he turns into like one of the baddest ones because he's just fuck shit up.
Yeah.
Like Dick Grayson is the OG, but he's like he turns into Nightwing.
I still feel Dick Grayson's my favorite.
Yeah, Dick's my favorite. If you're looking at like cool story advancements, Jason Todd is cool.
You're like, Dick's my favorite. Yeah.
I got nothing to do with Batman.
What are we talking about?
What's a Batman? But yeah, I like Grayson is the OG Robin that most of the stories are based on. Then you get to like Gotham Knight, where you get Jason Todd as Red Hood. Like that's a pretty cool story. But yeah, I mean, like, if you like Court of Owls, Damian Wayne's pretty good. Yeah. But yeah, I just feel like Dick Grayson's probably the most like consistently good Robin.
Yeah, fair. Did have another question. Do you guys think you would ever come off testosterone?
Do you think that one day we will stop needing to breathe air?
The answer is no. No, I mean, I have no intention of really coming off.
What's a testosterone? Is that creatine?
Pretty much.
Is that the name of creatine brand?
Yeah, I mean, I have no interest in coming off like from a health perspective as well. So
Honestly,
even
what
once
for?
yeah, it's like once I start, stopping actually, I mean, if ever like trying to get bigger, I mean, I don't know if that's a thing, but we'll find out. We'll yeah, I'll
Amount of
still
problems
be
up here I've got, that's the least of my worries.
I'll probably still, yeah, I'll definitely stay on testosterone purely from a health standpoint. Um, and just
We've
call
already
it
been through
life.
the multitude of benefits that come from it that I just can't see the logic of. Like,
Hmm.
if I could ever get to a point where I can get some prescription, like if I can get a prescription purely from a health perspective, like 100%.
Yeah, 100%. That's all the questions I've got.
All right. What's have I got? I did have a good one. Where'd it go? Do-do-do-do-do-do. Oh man, come on. Hold it up. Where'd it go? There we go. How can you build a competitive grind guts mindset in someone else without exposure to childhood competition? That's a good one. So essentially, like what we see pretty clearly is that people are exposed to competitive environments at a young age generally sustain or develop a really good competitive streak. But at the same time, there are people who come to us, that eventually want to get competitive or potentially have no competitive history that, might, let's say, don't interest in power building, powerlifting or bodybuilding or what have you. At a certain degree, as much as we can all play the whole, like, it's you versus you, bro, it's a competition. You are competing against other people.
Mhm.
And there is going to be a certain point where you have to find, it's more about how you evoke from the client themselves, the way in which you motivate them. Like it doesn't have to just be straight off the bat, like, this is a competition, get and fuck shit up, fuck you. Like, you can, if we look at goal setting, we have the 3 different forms of goals. Even though we have like a top-down process of goal orientation and stuff, you can have performance, outcome, and process goals. Now, even if someone isn't, say, competitively inclined initially, setting those goals and putting them in those environments where competition is elicited, and you
Mhm.
start to get people that are surrounding them with competitive inclinations, if you will, you'll tend to start kind of get more of a competitive drive from someone, and putting them in an environment where they are forced to recognize or forced to look at that someone either placed higher than them, got a better number than them, very quickly, like, threat prevention and threat detection and whatnot will kick in, and competitive streaks is a part of testosterone. Like, you are just going to be like, there will just be a time where, like, you're being put next to someone who's competitive, or they've got, a goal that you didn't get or a result you didn't get. And part of you will just start to want to fix that. Or,
Yeah.
hey, well, what did they do that made them better? Oh, well, if I can do that, well, I can be like them, or I'll beat them next time. Okay, competitive. There you go. You've just become like, you've at least evoked something from them, competitive nature, and then you just stoke it. Like, it's literally just like a fire. Like, you need to be able to stoke and evoke in the right way. But it generally comes from at a point, we can set the outcome goal and you can stir them towards it. But if you get into the habit of driving the process and the performance goals, which is like, daily habits, tick the boxes, make sure you get your lifts in the gym, or, if it's, whatever sport you're into, and then at a certain point, the outcome will either match the goal or it won't. And if the outcome was to, say, win a certain race and they lost by a country mile, like, okay, see all that, the performances you put in and the processes that you didn't stick to, that is why you lost, and that is why this person won. Okay, so how do I win? Well, we train harder, we stick to our food more, we stick to our sleep, we get better schedules. That outcome will then become more tangible. Okay, cool, I can do that. Now I've got a better placing, or now I want to get a placing again, or now
Yeah.
I want to improve my time, now I want to improve my run, I want to improve my lift. Even if it's process orientated, performance orientated, you will still get an evoking of competitiveness, whether it's against yourself or someone else, because, okay, based on my previous number that I had, or based on my previous workload or efforts, I got a pretty shit score. I don't want to feel that score again. Okay, this is what we do to get a better score. You're now competitive, whether it's with yourself or someone else. You are looking at a thing that you didn't like and you want to improve or beat. Competitive.
Yep. Fair. I mean, I got nothing to add. That's not my field, so I'd just be like, fuck it, get into it, start killing people, do what you got to do, mate.
Here is a gun to the back of your head. I have your child, and I'm going to shoot them if you don't do this thing.
Literally,
Pretty much.
because that's how I was brought up. Wait, what?
Uh, you didn't have a gun to your head as a kid? What?
Like, what's that?
To what degree can someone define you as obsessive via versus organized or structure with a hobby and passion?
Fucking, isn't that really subjective?
Yes,
I
it
was
would
gonna
be.
say that
It
sounds
would be
hugely
really.
subjective. Yeah.
It would be really subjective. The issue that I have when people start to speak on behalf of themselves, or sorry, their perception about someone else's obsessive tendencies, is that this is the part where I hate shit like total health and complete health, and you need to have complete balance, because you're speaking from a perspective or perception of what you believe normality should be. And anything outside of that is going to be deranged or psychotic or neurotic or obsessive or compulsive. And the second you start to deviate from what is considered normal based on your perspective is now wrong. And therefore that is those, terms we're using here. The problem is that what we define as, say, like obsessive body image or obsessive eating disorders and things like that, when we look at the literature in exercise psychology, things of that nature, there's more of like a total score. It's not just simply you are or aren't. Everything on the spectrum. We talked about this before. You're on a spectrum. If all of these things start to lead in a detrimental way away from the life that you value and enjoy living, then we start to look at, okay, that's overly obsessive and starts to become, I would say, passively neurotic. You are starting to get too fixated without even recognizing and realizing it's taking away from the life you even enjoy. If you're so obsessive with tracking that you don't even get a result from your tracking, or you're not even getting a result from your food, okay, it's getting pretty obsessive. Like, we need to start to look at these behaviors. The problem is these general numpties who are, and I know this person's talking, like, who the person is and what they're kind of referring to. When we look at these general numpties that are like, no, that's obsessive and neurotic and you're psychotic and this actually needs some help and you need mental interventions. They're speaking from a, like, I also want to go out and drink twice a week and hit that minimum. I also want to go out and party. I also want to go see friends every day. I also think that you should have a work-life balance. I also think you should have healthy relationships. I also think that life is about living, fucking weekend to weekend in a van and a convy and, fucking do my thing. If you base on that criteria, then tracking food, sticking to a routine, being regimented, being in a system is definitely neurotic and obsessive. However, that is why we have objective criteria or criteria matrices when we look at the DSM-5 and whatnot that can be ticked off based on actual, like, tangible things. You don't just get someone's personal subjective opinion on, like, oh, I think that's too much. That's over the top. Okay, Greg, like, I don't care what you think. That's, you go camping. I don't. I'm not going to pack up my car for 2 weeks at a time in my life and go live in the bush.
Two different objectives.
Two different objectives. So your perception on, like, this being too much because I, do this, like, my life revolves around these things. I also feel a sense of joy and passion and purpose towards it. And my life is productive because of it. So if we look at the criterias, that's not obsessive and dangerous or neurotic and psychotic. That's just not how that works. But the problem
comes from like a lack of understanding.
Yes, exactly. It really just becomes...
It's literally like a lack of education in, I guess, seeing other things and looking
precisely recognizing the fact that someone can have a different life ambition to you and will be a lot more either in tune with it, intuitive with it, obsessed with it, like driven with it. Like, you can say Elon Musk working like 100 hours a week on the floor of Tesla when he started out is obsessive. To him, he's like, I don't know any different. This is what I love to do. This is fun to me. This is what I enjoy. I don't enjoy drinking. I don't enjoy going out. I don't enjoy those social environments. So I don't do them. Do I have a poor social relationship with people? No. I just know that amongst my social circles, I would rather talk business with someone, train with someone in the gym, or, hey, let's go get some coffee. I would rather those things. That doesn't mean I'm missing out on something in life. That's not how balance works. Like, you're picking your subjective, arbitrary perception and saying that's how it should be. Anything less than that, you're obsessive and that's detrimental.
Well, at the end of the day, it's your choice, right?
Exactly. Who are you to define how happy my life should be or what direction it should take based on your personal opinion?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where it comes across. It's like, well, people still don't understand that it's your choice. You do what you want to do for you, not for someone else.
Yes, exactly right. To what degree have we diluted evidence base and confused it with authoritative opinion? Oh, very.
Yeah, I mean, all the time.
Yep. Yeah. Very and all the time.
All day, every day.
It gets to a point where, like, you're so dogmatic about something that it's also like you're just in the dogmatism of thinking you're right because the evidence is X, you become wrong.
Yeah. Well, as soon as you start talking absolutes, regardless of evidence, it's probably not a good thing.
100%. 100%. Like, we said this 1,000 times on here. The second you start absoluting anything in science, you're wrong. Like, not wrong, but you're definitely not right. Like, there's more chance you're wrong in what you're saying.
Yeah. It's honestly, it's like I still tell people when it comes to recovery and recovery modalities, right now the science doesn't suggest that any of really the recovery modalities that we have really does anything significant. Deep tissue massage, needling, cupping, electrical stim, all that shit. The only thing there's really some form of science is like cold water immersion stuff.
Mhm.
It would suggest that there is some, actual benefit outside of a training window, obviously. Um, but everything else, foam rolling and all that shit, doesn't really do much. So it's like when you go to your osteo or your myo, or even physios these days are apparently doing it, and they start cupping and needling and saying that it does all this shit. Again, right now, according to the science, it doesn't do anything. Now, the difference is it's been around, the practices have been around for thousands of years and come out of the Eastern culture.
Mhm.
So it's like, again, they didn't really have the science, but
Yeah.
they had some form of understanding that this may be doing something. And it's not to say in 10, 15 years' time, the science will completely change and say,
Mhm.
oh, no, this is exactly what it does. We just have the ability now to test it.
Mhm.
But right now, we can say, really without a doubt, that it doesn't do what people claim right now. And there's the caveat at the moment. But people get responses, people seem to feel good and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, okay, we'll go do it.
And we're the first people to say that there is a degree of evidence that comes with anecdote.
Exactly
So
right.
if you like as much, and that's something that seems to be missed amongst heavily evidence-based influence coaches, is that anecdote isn't acceptable. But
Yeah.
if we look at like one of the ways that in which you start to get quantitative data, right, is that you start to ask the questions and you start to get subjective questions being asked qualitatively. So to get qualitative questions, you have to ask people how they feel or respond in things like Likert scales. You get to map out questionnaires. Hey, before this happens or when this happens, how do you feel about this? What did you do here? Did this like? What did you think of this? Strongly disagree to strongly agree. How did you feel about this modality? Or when? How often do you get fucking such and such done? Okay, from there you start to get some numbers and some things to look at, and you go, all right, most of the populace seems to like this. Well, we can start to put this into some questions, and we can break that down, and we can actually study this question like objectively with quantitative numbers because we've asked the qualitative questions. So some of it starts to become anecdote. If
Exactly
one
right.
person says it, it's nothing. If 1,000 people amongst 100,000 population says it, you start to go, okay, that's a fair amount of people.
Well, I think most, if not all, research is done on anecdote first.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. So it's pretty hard to say. The anecdote has no place in evidence-based like practices. It is literally a form of evidence, and anyone that says any different is a real fucking moron.
Pretty much. Like
Yeah, just that's that simple.
like and that's the thing is like, and it's understood like, and this is I think we've sort of talked about it before when it comes to this industry, when it comes to evidence, is that if you look at fucking chemistry, you look at mathematics, you look at all these different things, there was anecdotal opinion. Like these models have worked and they understand these processes of research and data and analysis for thousands of years. We know, okay, we started off with an idea or something like, Socrates discussed this or predicted this or thought that. Well, okay, how many other people thought that? Well, there was a fair few, and it actually happened. As we started to notice a fair few people did this very thing, and they got something from it. They felt good. Okay, can we test that? Okay, there's a marginal difference or significance here that's worth reporting. That's still something. Okay, in conjunction with the rest of the stuff we talk about, does that work? Yes. Okay, then it's something worth including, but it's not the be all end all. That's the one metric. That might be, if we can, when we look at like sleep optimization or something like that, of the 20 different things we talk about, like when we made the sleep domain quiz, I know for a fact not one of those things independent of each other is the solution to your poor sleep. But before you tell me you've got poor sleep, all of these things have been studied by people or done by people anecdotally that got benefit. And we looked at it and yet that makes sense. Probably don't have alcohol within 2 hours of sleeping, or caffeine within 4 to 8 hours of sleeping, or have loud music and bright lights in your room when you're trying to go to bed.
Yeah.
Okay, each one of those things at some point was like, you know what? I really sleep poorly when the lights lit up. I really fucking sleep poorly when there's loud noise.
Loud noise, yeah, 100%. Who would have
Shocking.
thought?
Someone said that and went, hey, let's study that if that's across everyone. It is cool.
Yeah.
Was anecdote. Now your data.
Well, data back evidence. It's still, like I said, every hypothesis, every research paper had to have some form of experiment. That in itself is anecdote because it has to be trialed.
Yes,
Just because it's under
someone's opinion like this makes sense.
Just because it's under conditions doesn't mean it's still not anecdote. It has to be.
Yeah,
because you
and
don't get the result. You don't get the results until after you've done the thing.
Yes, exactly. Like you don't write the hypothesis after you've got the result back.
Well, yeah, I mean, like you have the hypothesis and then you need to create the experiment. And it's like, well, I think this is going to happen. So let's find out. There's the experiment. That's the anecdote. Oh, look, here's the results. Now here's the research and the data backed behind what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
The actual event itself is still anecdote.
Yes. And I think that's a big problem with like this realm being so new to evidence and like actual critical review. You get a few people that are really, really good at it by all means, but like people that, let's say this is going to be a very big leap, but you haven't gone to university to understand data analysis and like studies and study conducting. Like for us for psych, there are 3 specific courses you have to do that will determine if you can even enter into postgrad university to conduct studies and research, to be a clinical researcher, to teach you how to analyze data properly, to know what a z-score is, know what a t-score is, know what inferences are, to know what correlation and causation are, to know those differences, know cross-body studies and things like that, to actually be able to set these things up. And then you start to look at variables and novas and things like ANOVA, sorry. How does this all make sense to me? What does it mean? How to conduct it, yada, yada, how to read the papers. It teaches you that so that you can understand when you read a paper, like, was it, can I take something away from this? Was it actually significant? Was it conducted properly? Was there biases? Was there parts that interfered with the study itself? Was there researcher bias? It gives you that ability. And some people just, they'll read research and go, well, this is the evidence. Okay, but what did you take away from that? What did you actually decipher from that piece of paper? Because there isn't a lot of, if we look at, sleep optimization stuff, there is no one study that's like, do all of these things and that's your answer. There is a lot of individual studies you can read and dive into and go, okay, this makes the most sense here, or this happened here, and show that this happens with GABA and this happens with light interaction, blue lights do this. Eventually you start to put together a hypothesis of like, okay, if I build this as my sleep protocol, I should sleep better. Did it work? Yes. Okay, do those things. Like that's like how it starts to work. And I think there's an issue with people who aren't quite versed on study breakdowns and reading and how it's actually conducted and the process that goes into a study. There's a reason why most PhDs take 2 to 3 years. And that's because there's a lot that goes into conducting the study. And that's just in things like psychology and physiology. You look at chemistry and stuff like that, and you start to get to like, or physics or quantum physics or aeronautics. You start to get some pretty big fucking like research papers just to get a PhD or a thesis through.
It's good times. Trust.
Yeah. But yes, I think at a certain point, like we are getting way more authoritative than evidence-based. Like the whole premise of evidence-based, I believe you should be able to take away from each thing of like, the evidence that you've read and be able to apply it to your client in the context of where they are, what they're living through, what's going on, and how then you can best work with that logical data to say, this is what my client should do.
Yeah.
Because no client is a lab rat that is conducted only in a lab for 3 months controlled. It's not how they work.
Exactly. Like rat studies. It's great.
Like what?
Like rat studies. It's great.
Yeah. Take this and apply it directly to yourself from a rat.
Yeah. Anyway. What else we got?
That is it. That's all I got.
Beautiful.
So we had some good ones, we had some deep ones.
As always. Just put the tip in. It's fine.
I've never really heard it's gone that deep before, so it's nice when it happens on here.
Always. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up there. Anything we need to know coming out besides the big announcement next week and the big announcements happening this week?
No. Yeah, pretty much. If you are, you want someone that isn't neurotic and psychotic and out of control with their nutrition like me, you can reach out and we can book in a consult to work with Tom.
I was going to say just consult with me then.
Yeah.
Because Ben's got eating disorders.
Yeah, if you want to enhance your eating disorders more, I'm really wondering how long I can be petty with this for, because I can do this for so long.
Oh, I know you, bro. You can take it out for another fucking year. What are you talking about?
I'll drag the fuck out of this and just like exacerbate it even further.
It's like you don't even know.
Look at me. I am the
captain. Literally.
Pretty much me. Pretty much I'm just working my ass off, getting clients on board, getting everything set up and kind of working away this course. Modules are starting to be recorded, which is good. What else do we talk about? I've got some extras that I'm going to do as like more advanced radius, if you will. So it'd be like periodization for nutrition, for fat loss and muscle gain. Add my psych sort of skills in there as well. You know, so if you came to me for education, there is a specific outcome you can hope for. Be a better trainer or coach, or be a better gym goer.
Yeah,
right?
who would have thought?
Like,
Simples.
we'll map that out. How do we do this? At least on the basics. Yeah, pretty much it. Pretty much it. Keep an eye out if you're rather actually here's like something really good. Instead of paying for a mentorship, one of the things that we're endeavoring to do this year, and I attempted to start doing last year during prep, but I just got way too dead, is try and release at least a monthly update on the Matter podcast channel or YouTube channel to just simply explain where the business is progressing, what my workload looks like, what I'm doing.
Yeah,
so
like a little update.
Literally, it's just like if you watch Alex Hormozi, he talks a lot about how what he's doing to advance the next stage of his business. It's a very open book. You could almost map out, okay, what do I do to get from starting my PT business to, or my coaching business or my service business to what they're doing now if I want to do that. So it's really just we're trying to map out and just be transparent. So yeah, you know, feel free to follow along for that because I just did another episode this month for the first one this year. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, fair. Can't ask for much more.
Nope. What about you? What do we got? What's doing? When are you coming up?
Nah, well, like the goal is end of Feb, so we'll see how that all goes. We'll organize all that and get that started.
I think for anyone listening, it will probably be at 0W in Lutwich in Brizzy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've spoken to them. They're on board with it. Just got to give exact dates and sort of map out how long we want the workshop to run and blah blah, so we can isolate the gym or whatnot. So yeah, keep an eye out for that, guys, because it will probably be in Brisbane.
Perfect. That's what
we're doing. When we come down there, we can do it at your gym.
Yes, because I
don't have to ask anyone.
No, simples.
I like it. I like it.
And as always, guys, that's it from us. If you have any questions, concerns, put them up in the question box whenever we decide to put them up, because we still haven't worked out what's going on with that. Or just
I did it last night. Fuck you. I saw yours this morning.
You did, yeah. I saw yours last night, so I thought I'll try it this morning and see how we go. We both got the same amount of questions. Actually, I think I got one more than you. I had 3 questions.
That's it. Look at us doing our own subjective anecdotal data.
How dare we? We're not evidence-based. That is it from us, guys and girls. As always, keep safe, be good. Chat to you next week.
That's it, guys.